Your friend, you're not okay. And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away. As you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Got a buildup of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby I have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change I need today. I promise that I'm never.
Good morning.
This way. I really hope that
The 24th of August, 2002, it's 7:32. You're listening to Rouser Radio out of Lewis, UK, broadcasting from the White Hart Hotel.
Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to grey. As you
And
fade
despite the gloom and doom, we are not going to fade away.
as you fade away. As you fade away.
Well, as my friend and former colleague Eamon Holmes said when he opened up the news this morning on GB it is full of gloom and doom. There is nothing much to lift the spirits. And indeed, there is very little. And I'm sorry, but I keep on going back to the old theme. It's all the fault of the leaders. It's all their fault. But it is. We have leaders who, first of all, don't even appreciate the situation. So they don't start to come to grapple with it. They have no idea what's going on. And our political system is as broken as it can ever be. The trouble is, I really don't know. I'm one of those people that says it's all bust. Fix it, but I don't know what to fix it with. I really don't. I don't know. Perhaps what we need is a benign dictatorship. But there we go. Everybody would go up in arms if we try to do that. But let's look at the papers, just for the sake of looking at the papers. Every headline, or almost every headline, is the same this morning. Starting off with the Sun is gunned down at bedtime and left to die. And they say 15 years after the Reese killing, which was a little boy who's shot 15 years ago. And of course, the implication is it's happened again after 15 years. What's improved? Well, the fact is, it's rather worse. We've got these woke police chiefs and police authorities. They're full of theory, full of emotional claptrap, but putting coppers back on the beat seems to escape them, totally escape them. Where else should we have coppers? That's where to start. Then look at the other things. Yes, I know, cybercrime, etc., etc., etc. But we need coppers on the beat. So, gunned down at bedtime and left to die. And photographs of 9-year-old Olivia Pratt-Corbel feature on the front page of most newspapers after she was shot dead at her home in Liverpool. Gunned down at bedtime and left to die, headlines The Sun, as it reports Olivier was killed by a gunman who had chased a man into her home in the Knotty Ash area of the city. The paper also notes the killing comes on the 15th anniversary of the murder of 11-year-old Rhys Jones in the same city. And I'm afraid that we've been blathering on about the fact that the streets are dangerous, the country is becoming dangerous, and nobody pays any attention. This will be a headline, and this will be another 15 years, and somebody else will die, and everyone will say, tut, 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 why was nothing done? Mm, very, very sad. Very sad indeed. The police service is bust, and it's got to be put back together meticulously from the ground up. Because it's got itself into such a mess, and it's not just Scotland Yard. It's not just the Met. It's Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool, Bristol, Brighton, all as bad. And actually, when you talk about Brighton, which is now a city, the fact of the matter is that the chief of police is domiciled in Lewes, no more than a mile from where we're broadcasting at the moment. So a lot of thinking to be done locally. Ha, ha, ha. The Metro. Tell us who killed little Olivier. The Metro says the appeal of the police with its headlines, Tell us who killed little Olivier, is the Merseyside Chief Constable, is Serena Kennedy, said now was not the time to remain tight-lipped and appealed to Liverpool's criminal fraternity for information as Olivia's death crossed every single boundary. The paper says she was killed after a suspected gangland hit went wrong. Well, if the police don't know and can't have no suspicion, and it's 24 hours, 48 hours now, without a proper arrest, is then what the hell is going on? Because it same as any security forces, its intelligence is the key to how it handles things. And if it doesn't know, or that it's a suspected gangland killer, what the hell's going on? What is going on? Daily Express. Just a child, innocent victim of gun wars. And the Express says just a child headline. It carries a quote from the Mayor of Liverpool, Joanne Anderson, who described the killing as an appalling act of evil. The paper notes Olivia's killing is the third gun death in Liverpool in a week. Wow. Yeah, there are two gone unnoticed or unheralded. What are we up against? What are we up against? And how have we let this situation? And what's happened, of course, is over the last 20 years, just about everything has deteriorated. Nobody has kept an eye on what's happening, or has ignored it, or has had an explanation, a woke explanation as to why these things are happening. Well, they're happening, and we need action in trying to prevent them or at least solve crime once it is committed. And we have neither. We have neither. The the youngest victim of gangland killings. That's the headline in the newspaper, which follows the rest. Oh, let's just take a breath, shall we? Let's just take a breath. Let's go to Breeze and telecast it. Breeze from a telecasted, a pleasant little tune to calm things down this morning. But once again, let me quote Eamon Holmes. Is gloom and doom this morning. There's not much else in the news. And indeed, he's absolutely right. And looking at the newspaper headlines, which of course are always a little bit after the fact, we were reporting on this murder of the little girl yesterday morning at this time. And the newspaper headlines, of course, had missed it because of the time that it had happened. So this morning the papers are full of it. The Mirror, horror in the streets, unbearable. It features a photo of Olivia, the victim, the 9-year-old girl who was shot, and the police cordon around her house on its front cover. A neighbour tells the paper, "You could hear it all. Her mum was screaming for help, but no one could do anything." How very, very sad. It looks like a lovely little girl, too. The Daily Mail. Ah, picture of innocence to shame lawless Britain. Mind you, the Mail does carry a leader at the top, a short leader. Meghan, I was forced to carry on with royal tour after fire drama in Archie's bedroom. Apparently, she's put out a podcast. I can't tell the difference between a podcast and a blog, frankly. But she's put out a podcast for which you can pay some exorbitant sum and listen to what she has to say. And apparently, it is a litany of feeling sorry for herself, and it's always somebody else's fault. She doesn't change, does she? Picture of innocence to shame lawless Britain, says the Mail. A picture of innocence. The paper writes the murder of Diana stunned the nation. Olivier stunned the nation and will intensify debate about lawlessness in the country. Intensify bloody debate. It is like there's pain on your face. I just don't understand why we are still jaw. There are things which can be done today. Today. Instead of coppers sitting on their fat backsides at headquarters with the engines of motors racing so that they can go to some incident an hour away, is we could put those bums back onto the street. Let's see them waddle. Most of them are bloody fat. Let's see them waddle up and down the high street. It'd be a bit of a detergent. Detergent. You can tell the state I'm in. A deterrent to a lot of the people who at the moment are busy, yes, perpetrating crimes actually on the high street, let alone breaking into homes. It's just absolutely appalling what's going on in the country. And nobody seems ready to fix it. And that's because we got 650 minnows in Westminster, and it spreads on from there. You get poor leadership at the top, and it goes down. And we've got an election coming up, and what are we going to do? Vote for the same sort of silly people. Because there is no reform in the political parties. There is no reform in our political structure. There is no reform in the way that we govern. Goodness gracious me. Goodness gracious me. And these are the sort of things that are coming out of it. Murder and mayhem in the streets. The EU feared to be losing the will to back Ukraine. Well, a slightly different tack from the Daily Telegraph, which says that European leaders, because they're now beginning to feel the pinch, the cost of living, are now saying, well, we've given enough money to Ukraine, let's stop. I think that once again, that is a debatable thing. Yes, it is. It's a debatable point. Should we withdraw our support to look after ourselves? It's always the argument. We spend money abroad and we haven't got it to spend at home. But the fact of the matter is if Russia actually wins this war and takes over Ukraine, then we are all at risk. And the energy crisis is not going to go away. Sure, we can build wind farms, we can do sustainable projects. They're going to take a long time to kick in. And even if we go back to fossil fuels, because there is a bit of oil lurking in the North Sea, it's going to take time. This whole thing has crept up on our leaders because they were so busy getting their knickers into a twist, and still are, some of them, particularly Labour, getting their knickers into a twist about a half bottle of champagne, a packet of crisps, and an iced Christmas cake. It's absolutely appalling. Appalling. And they make themselves sound so righteous. Well, they are. They've got subsidised bars and subsidised meals and subsidised travel. You know, no MP is allowed to travel on a train unless it's first class and paid for. Second homes. You know, is young Max who works with us. He struggles in each morning. He's got a 2-hour journey. Nobody gives him any subsidised travel. Nobody gives him any money for it. Why do the MPs have to have it? Pay for it out of your income, which isn't bad. It's in the 70,000 plus, and the plus is probably doubles it. You lead a nice lifestyle. Thank you very much. It is depressing. You're quite right, Damon. It is depressing. Absolutely depressing. Now, to the Financial Times. The chief executive of Scottish Power, one of the biggest energy suppliers, has told ministers more than £100 billion over 2 years is needed for a rescue plan to protect households from rising bills. Keith Anderson reportedly met with the business secretary, Kwasi Kwarteng, last week and suggested capping household energy bills at around £2,000. That's still 100 and some odd pounds a month. Mine has gone up to around 100 from 40. God help me. God help me. The Guardian, fury as grain giants profit from unjust hunger crisis. Well, everybody else has been profiting. Now somebody has suddenly woken up to the fact that the people who trade in the commodities and the basic food items such as grain, wheat, are also making huge profits. The paper says that there should be a windfall tax on grain traders who are enjoying giant profits amid soaring food prices. Profiteering and speculation in global food markets that could put staples beyond the reach of the poorest. Give me a loaf of bread. What is it? Is it Omar Khayyam? A loaf of bread and a flask of wine? Oh, forget the wine. Can't afford the bread anymore. A United Nations special report on extreme poverty calls for the record profits, which are clearly unjust and a terrible indictment of our food systems, to be subject to a windfall tax. The Times. The Red Arrows engulfed by bullying and assault row. Wow. Well, it is an inquiry into the culture of the Red Arrows. That's the RAF aerial display team. Now, where is the Daily Star going to take us this morning? Because it normally brings a smile to my face. Regular sex boosts your health as much as giving up booze and cigarettes, say the doctors. They've got a picture of a couple in bed saying, yes, yes, yes. Research on the benefits of sex. The study shows it can be important for your health, as quitting smoking or cutting down on booze. Well done. Well done for the Star coming up with this sort of stuff. I shall go to bed tonight feeling much happier about everything, even though I'm going to bed alone. Whoa. Does that mean I'm going to have poor health? Not necessarily. Good old cyber sex is wonderful stuff. Oh dear. Come on. We better let's. I found this one yesterday in Five Straight Rows. I rather liked it, I think. Let's have a go. That's a booster, isn't it? Yes, it's now 7:56, and today is Wednesday, the 24th of August, 2022. And at 8:30, you can expect Max Hurd and Stuart Dolby along. It's Energy Day, when you can find out all about the prices, the expectations, who's pocketing the dough, who's causing the problems, the experts. But actually, it's sort of fun watching Max and Stuart together, having a go at one another. One, the youngsters' viewpoint, and the other, the oldies' viewpoint, and never the twain shall meet. And it doesn't meet on Mirador television, but it's a lot of fun watching them bandy words. And indeed, I have my own little splurge with them from time to time, and it's good stuff. Hmm. So tune into Mirador Television at 8:30, but you can get it during the day. You can get it on um, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, or whatever it's called. Yeah, a whole host of places that it actually goes out. So you only have to dip in for a few minutes. Don't expect you to listen to it all. I mean, there's 3.5 hours worth, for God's sake, Jesus. But there are bits and pieces which I think you might find amusing and interesting. So that's it for the 24th. And what sort of day is it out there? Well, it's warm. It's 24 again. The temperature creeping up, scattered cloud, and a light breeze. A light breeze, I don't quite know how they rate the breezes, because a light breeze can easily lift your hat off, and it can hit you full force on occasion. But there you are. It keeps everything a little bit cooler, I suppose. And there is some rain moving in. It's going to be fairly nice for the rest of the week, heading up to the long weekend. Yes, we got Monday off, chaps. Oi, whoopee, oi, Moses. Oh, gosh, gosh, gosh. And why not? So it's going into Brighton on Monday. I suppose is an option. Although I can't think why we would want to. Is perhaps staying at home, moseying into Lewis, and sitting down and having a coffee and watching the world go by. Anything except working, because we don't take enough time off. We really don't. I was just looking at the sports pages. I mean, does anybody read all that guff? Do we care that Ronaldo has fallen out with his manager, or that he wants to move on? Or, well, perhaps it might be interesting when you read the gobsmacking amounts of money that they're paid and on the transfer market. But in a recession, is that going to maintain? Is that going to hold up? Because I think there'll be some serious questions if people are on the breadline and their heroes are earning £50,000 a week. I mean, it's become obscene and silly, and I think that it's going to take a tumble. Okay, so it's television that pays the bill. Television is funding professional football. But television in itself is reliant upon advertising. And if the advertising starts to drop off, so does its funds. And therefore, it's paying, helping, and contributing toward the obscene amounts of money that these young footballers get, and along with sponsorships. Gosh, I can't wait to get my name on the shirt. What name is on your team shirt? I have a clue. Not a clue. And all sorts of rubbishy talk and writing on the back pages. And that's it's pretty sad. It is pretty sad. What about the inside pages? Because all the front pages, nearly all the front pages, are the same. Oh, Cheeky Kate does a Gwynny. A supermodel at 48 strips off to promote new wellness brand. Old Gwyneth Paltrow, that is, has shown she's not scared to bear all when it comes to publicising her lifestyle brand Goop. Oh, right, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Trust, I'll redirect £13 billion from the NHS to social care. Oh, right, yeah, the NHS is in trouble, so they're going to lose £13 billion. Right, the new PM must tackle the Whitehall blob. The new Prime Minister must overhaul the bloated Whitehall blob if they are to effectively tackle the plethora of crises facing the UK, a report has warned. Oh, those reports take months to put together. We've been saying this for a year. We've been saying it for a year on this television program and this radio station. And suddenly they're catching up. That's what's wrong with our leadership. It is reactive. It is not proactive, and we want them to be proactive. Oh, I say, lawyer sues Nasty Nick for saying she was drunk out of her mind at Southwest 19. Who's that? A tennis fan accused of being drunk out of her mind by Nick Kyrgios during the Wimbledon men's final is to sue him. Oh, yeah, why not? Sue the bastard. And Sir Cliff Richard is saying is how the false sex assault claims left him praying every night. Oh, Sir Cliff is a bit religious. Let's see. She died hiding behind money. There's quite a bit of detail inside. I'm looking at the Daily Mail about gangland horrors and how the little girl Olivia died. Here's one that hasn't hit the headlines except on telly, and that is that 700 Albanian migrants crossed the Channel on a record day. 700 Albanians came in, and amongst those there will be plenty of criminals. Believe me, it always happens that way. And the Rwanda plan to tackle crisis is stuck in legal limbo. Right, we were going to get rid of them down in Rwanda. And of course, somebody challenges it, and it gets into the mess of our courts. That needs simplifying as well. Well, a little bit of good news, I suppose, is the missing nurse found safe and well. But why did it take police 7 weeks to find her? Says the headline. Awali Davis was reported missing on July the 8th, July the 6th, and we just found her. Oh dear. Well, those are some of the things. And there is a little thing on the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Merkel, Windsor. What is the last name? What only knows. Anyway, she's put out a blog and giggling, gushing, and old grievances. It's not worth the money. Not worth the money. Minister's secret talks over £100 billion plan to freeze bills for 2 years. Last orders, as 7 in 10 pubs warn they will not survive the winter. Oh my God. And thank God my sister survived crash carnage and brother's relief over the Range Rover smash on tube tracks. Double take as experts find human lookalikes have DNA links. There's all sorts of bits and pieces in there. Perhaps worth more reading than the back pages and sport. And he's here. Mr. Max has arrived. So he will be leading you in about let's see. In just 24 minutes. It's 6:06 now on the 24th day, Wednesday of August in the year 2022, and it is all gloom and doom, as Eamon Holmes said this morning on GB TV. I can't find anything nice lifting to talk about, and I must say that he's absolutely right. Even though the newspaper front pages are almost 100%, not quite, almost 100%, uh, highlighting the shooting that we brought to you yesterday morning at this time of a young girl, Olivier, in her own home, a 9-year-old girl who was shot down by a gunman who raced in through the front door. And police think that it's a gangland killing. Well, get your fingers out, chaps. You should know whether it's a gangland killing. You should have some idea of who it is. Intelligence, whether it's armed forces, security forces, uh, uh, spies, national security, they all depend upon you having good intelligence. So where was your intelligence this time, if you're asking the question, is we think. We're in dead trouble. We are really in dead trouble. Right, okay. Let's see. I always love this one. Down with your get up, and that will take us through to almost 8:15, and time to say goodbye and hello to Max. Right, so here we go. And there we go. That was down with your get up. So it's time to get up, and it's time for us to get off. It's only 8:10. We've got another few minutes yet. So just to recap, the headlines this morning in the newspaper are all about a little Olivier, 9-year-old little girl who was shot in her home in Liverpool. And in reading through bits and pieces, it would appear that in the last 48 hours there have been 3 deaths in Liverpool, and not least of which is Tyson Fury's cousin, who was stabbed to death in the street. And it is getting out. It is out of control. Is when the gangs feel that they can roar in to a home, a private home, and shoot a 9-year-old child, whether it's an accident or not, is beyond the pale. And it is time for some police chiefs to be held to account. They are wonderful in theory, and meetings and schedules and so on and so forth. But in practice, they are a disaster. Collectively, they're a disaster. Nobody is trying to put, despite the fact that these police inspectors have said, get people back on the beat, because we're all feeling very insecure. Despite that, I'm afraid that the police chiefs collectively have not done much. And then they don't do much except go and jaw somewhere at some conference, decide that every policeman should have a degree. Ha, 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 ha. Hey, who goes there? Bugger off, copper. Oh, okay. But you know, I've got a degree. Yes, thank you very much. Absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. That fills me with a great deal of confidence. Where is the idiocy going to end? I'm having a go at the police this morning, but I could equally be having a go at the unions, at some of the corporate entities, the institutions, like the bank, and most certainly the Houses of Parliament. And it all to what end? It doesn't alter. Nothing changes. The only thing that's going to happen is that we get a much better quality of candidate. But oh no. The parties will not allow that. It's got to be ratios. They've got to have so many women, so many gays, so many black people. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Nobody asks anymore, are they any good or going to be any good at their job? Nobody. And as a consequence, we get a whole bunch of people who the only thing that they do and get excited about is when their subsidised meals and their subsidised bars and their subsidised travel and their subsidised housing is in threat. Oh, then we see them really come alive. Wow, you hear the howls of protest. About anything else? No. Some of them don't even bother to turn up and vote. Not much at Prime Minister question time anymore. Don't get any spirited people. It's just a silly nonsense. Just a silly nonsense. And our quality of life, our way of life, our community, our society, and most of all, our economy is going to take a nosedive as long as we allow that to carry on. I'm Keith Hayes. This is Rouser Radio, broadcasting from the White Hart Hotel in Lewes, East Sussex, on the 24th day, which is a Wednesday of August 2022. Thank you for being with me for this briefing. You get ready for Max. Oh my God, get ready for Max. He is going to take you through for 3 hours, in which Stuart Dolby will join him, and the two of them will go through both energy matters, but also take a look at all sorts of other things that are in the news or are of concern. It is 8:15. 8:15. Quite right. Toodaloo.
Your friend, you're not okay. And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, 'cause every time I wake up I feel